Hello, today we're talking about one of my biggest passions, and that's calisthenics. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm into powerlifting. I love bodybuilding more than powerlifting, simply because I'm terrible at powerlifting, because I'm like an ectomorph. I'm not really built for it, but I do prefer calisthenics over everything, again, because I'm built for it. Now, if you're a like say endomorph, yeah, sure, you could still like you're quite big, you have quite a lot of weight to you. You might be better off with powerlifting, but you can still do calisthenics, and calisthenics could be a good segue into you having weight loss goals to get better at it and losing more weight. In my experience, I've always been naturally fairly good at calisthenics because I've always been very skinny, and over the years, I've actually gotten into weightlifting a bit more, bodybuilding. So I've put on a good amount of muscle, and of course, that's made it harder for me to progress in calisthenics. But I still have like certain goals that are, obviously taking ages with calisthenics, but I'm progressing with both weightlifting and calisthenics. I can't really complain, but it's kind of what happens when you choose to do multiple things at once. It kind of stunts progress a little more in both things if you don't pick a lane. But you can do, of course, weightlifting and calisthenics as long as you're careful. You can actually progress. Say you wanted to do calisthenics and you wanted to really focus on it, but you wanted to build a bit of muscle, you could just do like a little bit of weightlifting after your calisthenics sessions, because obviously you want to use all of your energy on the thing you want to progress at the most. So if you want to do calisthenics the most, you want to get better at that, then do that first. If you want to build muscle, then go to the weights first. But I'm not saying you can't build muscle doing calisthenics. It's just it will take you longer because the resistance is harder. Say with let's go to the basics, right? Push-ups and pull-ups. You get good at those very quickly if you're training them properly, and then like, what are you gonna do? Like you can do 50 reps. That's on like push-ups. That's quite, it's endurance based. So it's not really gonna be good for muscle building. Of course, you can slow down the reps. Grab some parallel bars, some parallettes, and go slow, deep, and then quick up, and then slow down, go really deep, good range of motion for the chest. Then you can build a fair amount of muscle, but I will always recommend like a chest press machine where you can load weight, you can do drop sets, partial reps, you can increase just you can build so much muscle doing that rather than just focusing on push-ups. But of course, if you want to get better at push-ups, you're not just trying to build muscle, then do push-ups if you enjoy them, But my point is, right, it's calisthenics is very rewarding, okay? I would always recommend it. It's a great passion of mine. You can do powerlifting or even bodybuilding with calisthenics. Just always focus on what you want to do first. Most people, most people who are built a certain way tend to go more towards what they're good at, right? So, as I stated, I'm an ectomorph, or I always have been, right? So I went more towards pull-ups and bodyweight exercises, whereas I've got friends who are much bigger than me, who are way stronger, and have just gone straight to powerlifting. And then I've got friends who are just really aesthetic. They put on muscle fairly easily, but they can stay quite shredded. They can like cut down and bulk up quite easily. They're more of a mesomorph. They're more in between. So they prefer bodybuilding simply just because they're good at it. They look good doing that certain thing. It's more impressive for them. It is bonfire night, by the way, so if you hear some fireworks going off, then don't worry about it. But yeah, so the only other thing I will say about calisthenics, right? The only other main thing I will say is that it's tough, right? It is a very hard thing to progress at. You do plateau quite easily depending on what you're doing. If you're trying to do advanced skills, you plateau. It takes you so long to learn, so you have to be persistent. You have to be 100% sure that you're gonna continue doing this for years. all right? Because otherwise you're not gonna get good at it. You might be okay at it. Don't get me wrong. You might get a muscle up fairly easily, but past that, you won't really progress if you don't keep doing those skills. For me, I'm not very good at pushing exercises, so handstands, stuff like that. Naturally, I'm really not good at them, so I'm just training those so much, like consistently over and over and over again, and that's the only way I make progress, right? I've tried to do it over the past 5 years, just kind of randomly on and off, and I've got nowhere, right? So more recently, I have to stick at it, keep going, no matter what. Just like it's gonna sound, a bit cheesy, but you just can't give up if you're gonna be doing something like calisthenics, because I find it more mentally challenging with the amount of like different injuries that you can get. And I'm not talking huge injuries, I'm talking like small tweaks that put you out for like a week or two. It's so annoying because you want to just keep training, and it's the only sport I found that's easy to overtrain, like really easy to overtrain. And calisthenics, I just want to keep going and going and going, but I physically can't, right? I can't like practice the form as much as I want to on things like the handstand, because my shoulders and my wrists just can't take it. So I've got to rest and then come back, and then if my wrists are injured, I have to wait like a week, or maybe just be really careful, use compression wristbands. There's things you can do to get around everything, right? And I will be making videos in the future, but if you want to get into calisthenics, just be very wary that things like tendinopathy, like bicep tendinopathy, if you want to train weighted pull-ups, or the one-arm pull-up can happen. There's so many different little injuries that you need to be wary of and be very careful of just when you're thinking about training. And I will be making so many videos about this in the future. But if calisthenics, if you like the cool skills that I'm showing, right? If you just like the idea of learning these things, then go for it. But yeah. And my last like disadvantage of training calisthenics is just there's so many factors that go into it that can affect your progress, so it's hard to track what the issue is if you've plateaued, or what the issue is if you're having pains in a certain muscle, just because so many calisthenics exercises affect so many different muscles. Like if you're training the handstand, right, and you're training dips even, your shoulders are affected by both of those things. So are your triceps, right? Your chest is affected by both of those things, smaller in the handstand, but like because of this, you might end up overtraining a certain muscle groups just without even realizing it, right? You have to know exactly what muscles are being worked in every exercise you do, or you might just end up overtraining. Of course, get a trainer, all right? Or get a plan that somebody else has made if you don't know exactly how much you can do or what your limits are. But overall, like it's so tough to track progress because of this. And also like small things, like if you eat a bit more one day and you end up putting on maybe a pound or two, that can affect your progress in calisthenics if you're not tracking how much you're eating. So one day you might go in and it might just be an off day, you might just be tired, or you might have eaten a bit more and you might have gained a bit of weight, and so your progress is not as good that day, and you're wondering like why, and you can't, how, not even I know if it's because I'm too tired, or if it's because of what I'm eating, unless I track everything. And you don't have to track everything, right? You can just accept, all right, I need to reset myself. I need to come back maybe in a few more days and try again. Maybe I need to eat a bit less. You just need to identify the problem if you can, and then go from there. But even if you start taking like creatine, that adds some more weight to you. Like I'm on creatine right now, right? I'm a lot bigger than I could be. It could be a lot smaller if I wanted to be. I like the way I look with creatine, and it does help my progress a little bit when I'm weightlifting. And I feel like it has helped my progress a little bit with calisthenics, but it has done more bad than good, I think, because it's put more weight on my actual body, and that's not all necessarily muscle weight, it's actually quite a lot of water weight. So just be wary, if you're taking creatine, it could make your calisthenics progress a lot more difficult. Like even a few pounds can be a huge difference, okay? It's crazy, but other than all of that, like just those things that you need to be wary of, just make sure you're certain that you want to start calisthenics and be certain that you want to train it consistently and you want to get better at it. If you want to just dip your toes in, try it out, go ahead, you know? It's your choice, but just know that with anything, you're not gonna get better at it if you don't keep training it, right? That applies to powerlifting, bodybuilding, any type of sports you want to do, any type of, well, anything. All right, you're not going to get better at it if you keep stopping for a long period of time, and then you get motivated again. You're like, yeah, I'm going to do it, and then maybe a month later you're like, I don't have time for this anymore, and then you just stop. You're not going to get better at it. Right? You're just going to keep going back to the start, and then maybe you get a bit further and you go back to the start again. All right, because this is what most people do, and it's just you need to get a routine down, and you need to train hard. I always say that you need to train as hard as you possibly can if you want to make progress. Okay. Anyway, that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I helped in some way, like I explained something maybe you've never heard before. Just, this is all from personal experience of making my own mistakes over the past year, just years and years. So I've just not really heard any of these reasons from any of the other YouTubers I watch, which is fine. You know, these are quite obscure reasons, but they are very, very much there. You know, they're very much going to affect you and what you do. But with that being said, I will hopefully see you guys in the next one. If you like these type of informative videos, just let me know. Subscribe. Give me a like, you know, I'm not very big and I'm hoping to help as many people as I can. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.